All right, guys, I am pumped. This is Matt with Buy Low Sell Heinz here. I have Ryan and Lindsay from Renzy. You guys are RnzyNow on Instagram, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and is that the same kind of like handle on YouTube as well?
It's just Rinzy on YouTube.
Just Renzy on YouTube. Okay. I'll definitely make sure that I get the Instagram and YouTube links from both you guys afterwards. We'll put it down below, whether this is on Instagram or YouTube. So, yeah, if you guys can introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, what you guys do.
Yeah, so we are Ryan and Lindsay. We're a couple shoes full time. We've been doing it for about 18 months now. We started in June of 2017. Oh, so I guess we're coming up on 2 years.
Coming up on almost 2 years.
Yeah,
Nice.
but we resell shoes.
We dove in full time on day one, and that's not the normal story, but we were fired from our previous jobs, and we couldn't fathom going to work for someone else again, and so we jumped into the reselling world, and we've made it happen. It's exceeded all of our expectations and more.
Okay. Now, you guys said you were fired around the same time. Were you guys working at the same place, or were you guys separate places?
He's just making me feel better.
So she was fired.
I was fired.
And we were together. So basically, we weren't working together. We were working, doing different things. And we decided at that juncture when she lost her job that we would come together and move forward on this one business adventure together, rather than one of us do reselling and one of us do another job. And we are an excellent team, both in the reselling world and out of it. So it's been great.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, I guess a lot of people, what I hear is, they like that separation when they can go to work and, like they have their own time and stuff like that. But like, I definitely, one, I love your guys' energy. You guys are like amped up 24/7 all the time.
He is.
Yeah.
I'm a little more.
She evens it out.
Yeah,
In a
no,
good way. Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, you definitely, like, I see, you guys make it very apparent, like where your strengths are and stuff like that. And you guys play off each other's strengths, which is awesome to see. It's cool having two people because, like I'd love to have that second person where, like I know my weaknesses and I work so much and spend so much time on those kind of things, trying to get those better, and when my strengths like obviously have that back burner. So,
Yep.
so what do you, if you guys don't mind me asking, what did you guys do before this? And like, did it transition at all into sneakers, or how did you fall into sneakers?
It not so much sneaker. I wasn't doing anything with shoes. I was running a handbag company. It was a family business, making handbags out of recycled sales. And so definitely like the business side was heavy. And same with you.
Yep.
You were running a brand.
Yeah, I was running a different brand when we met, and we met through the different brands that we were creating. And when she lost her job and when I decided to, go full steam on this, we certainly brought everything that we had from those experiences. I'm 35 years old, and Lindsay just turned 29. And so we've done a lot of things in our past. We both have our college degrees, and we've both done a tremendous amount of different things in our life. But on our second date, I asked her if she wanted to drive 30 minutes north to go pick up some free shit that was on the side of the road.
I love it.
To resell it. And it was kind of a test for me. And she was like, yeah, let's go. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so great.
See, some people bring their partners like bowling to see how they handle competition. You bring going to find like junk on the side of the road. I like it.
Yeah. Car with weights.
Yeah, we picked up some free weights that we were gonna sell, and we never actually ended up selling them. But the adventure led us to a place where she's very business savvy, and I'm more of the creative side of things. And those two things coming together have allowed us to be extremely successful. Plus, we enjoy what we do, and we don't make any bullshit excuses. And we're just enjoying the process.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you guys there. I was actually I interviewed Romer the Romer, which I'm sure you guys have followed.
Yeah.
And I was interviewing him last night, and that was like one of the biggest things. It's just it's the freedom, and it's not like you know, I don't think any of the big players in the game or the people that are willing to do interviews and stuff like that, we're not in it to get rich. It's to find that freedom, and it's to find what makes you happy. You know, it's not like where everybody else is like, oh, I got to make $2 million. There's my happiness level. So it's nice.
Yeah, it's kind of pulling from both ends, because you have to have the practicality. You obviously have to make some money.
Right.
But it's surprising how happy you can be if you take a real honest look about how much you need. I mean, we just moved, but we live in a big 2-story, you know, we live in a big place right now. We've got so much room. I was literally doing like 20-yard dashes with our dog inside. And I say that because we have more than we possibly need. If we lived in a shack and we're surrounded by all the shoes, we'd be just as happy, which is actually how we started.
Yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. Yeah, it is funny. So I actually, when I asked you guys to do an interview originally, I forget, and I have the list at home, and I apologize I didn't bring it with me, but it was funny. So afterwards, I think like 2 days later, I went to, so I live in Nashua, New Hampshire. I don't have a problem sharing that. Obviously, it's a big town. And I had actually gone to the Merrimack outlets, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to look up just like 2 pairs of shoes, and just kind of like almost follow it, not purchase it myself, but actually just kind of like follow it, find somebody that had it for sale, and see like how fast they sold it and that kind of stuff. And it actually, I think it was like, ended up being like $35 at the outlets. Somebody had it posted, I think, for like 82 on Poshmark. 2 days later it is sold. So like, it was kind of cool. But the funny thing is, I think I literally left, and like an hour later, I saw a post. I think it was when Lindsay, I think you were in North Carolina or South Carolina, and I think you were at the outlets like an hour later, and I was like, oh man, if I wasn't already doing other errands, I'd turn around.
I know. And now that we're in the same vicinity, we definitely got to link up in person. But
we'll be there Saturday.
Yeah, we're gonna swing through on Saturday. We're doing a huge sourcing trip starting tomorrow, where we're gonna start in Maine, work our way down to the New Jersey area, and come back up, both sourcing all the way down and all the way back.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you guys are doing like a 3-day journey, right? As far as that goes.
Yeah, every once in a while we do these big trips. This one's going to be a little bit different than our normal big 3-day trip, but we're super excited. We put a lot of planning into it, and it's been fruitful every single time we've done it.
That's awesome. So one of the biggest things that actually I want you guys to explain is, so you guys don't sell on Amazon at all.
We don't use Amazon or eBay.
Okay. Now you guys, I guess you guys used to use eBay, right? A little bit before?
Correct.
Okay. So why did you guys shy away from eBay? And then why have you guys never used Amazon? And do you guys ever plan on using Amazon?
As far as eBay, yeah, like you said, it was kind of like that was the go-to platform when you start reselling. When you start online reselling, because we did Facebook Marketplace for the first 6 months, and then we wanted to be able to ship and fit more pairs into our daily schedule. So we went on eBay, and we did that for a little bit, and it was fine. Like, we did well on it, but then we wanted to add other platforms, so we added Poshmark. And the difference between eBay and Poshmark, as far as like the efficiency that we were able to develop and the level of sales that we were bringing in and like the style of it and everything, we just, as we always say, like, we pour gas on what's working, and Poshmark was where it was at. So we put gas on that and didn't look back to eBay.
Nice.
Off sizes we'll do on eBay if it's like a men's 20 or something, and those sizes, Poshmark doesn't go that high.
Okay.
So we'll put those on eBay, but
yeah, and we, this is the part when we answer this question, we fully understand you can build a monster business on eBay. We're not saying that you can't.
Right.
Same thing. The obvious. You can build a monster reselling business, and let's talk specifically about shoes on all of these marketplaces. And the key thing that Lindsay said is we were kind of trying to figure out what worked best for us and the way that we function as humans and as resellers. And for us, there was just a lot of things that were slowing down the process, that were creating a lot of hiccups on eBay that we didn't find on Poshmark, even with the higher fees over on Poshmark. And so we just went with it, and we haven't looked back.
Nice. Okay. Now with Amazon, do you guys ever plan on like transitioning to Amazon at all, like as well as all the rest of it, or?
Yeah, and this is actually the first time we've actually vocalized this. So we're choosing your
Ooh, I get the exclusive. I appreciate it. Hi, Reezy. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. This is the first time we're vocalizing this. Amazon is absolutely part of our future game plan. Behind the scenes, we've been building a partnership and a relationship. We've kind of mentioned it once or twice, and it's piqued some ears, but we're really building it behind the scenes where we'll absolutely be selling a tremendous amount of volume of shoes on Amazon. Nice. Through a warehouse facility and in partnership with another reseller. And our big thing is we don't like to project or talk about or put out into the world stuff that we can't answer a lot of questions about.
Sure.
And because we're novice in it, because we're in the infancy of that Amazon adventure, we don't like to project it, because then a bunch of people start asking us questions. We get 100 DMs. And when that happens now with Amazon, we direct it to the people like Reezy. We direct it to the people that are crushing it on eBay, because one, we don't use either. And so in the future, within the next, definitely within the next 12 months, you're going to be hearing some big things about us on Amazon.
That's awesome. No, it's super exciting. Yeah, I mean, especially so like, I honestly didn't really I didn't start using Mercari till I heard you guys were using it, a couple other people. So like I don't do shoes at all. The only shoes I've actually bought a couple cleats, which I found funny when you were talking to Reezy. Like he's like, oh, you got a pair of cleats behind you? You were like, no. So I don't know what the faux pas is with cleats.
Yeah, that's just one of the things that that's the way that we work. We haven't had the biggest success, and we've decided to not put cleats into our game plan. We have a couple cleats that we bought like a year ago, but they're not selling.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. I guess like I try and play to my market. You guys talk about putting like gas on the fire that's already going. So like I play softball in the summer. I've got I found 4 pairs of cleats. I think they were $8 a piece. They're all like sizes of the guys I play softball with in the summer, and like. I'm like all for it. I was like, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, I feel bad making money off my friends, but hey, I'm hoping you guys out too, So
no, you definitely. We built our business selling locally, sourcing locally, and selling locally. We source from all the thrifts, clean the shoes, and then meet people. Quick story based on what you just said. We used to go to Buy the Pound all the time. There's one about 40 minutes away from us. For the people that are watching or listening, that's where you can buy shoes by the pound, by how much they weigh, and I think it's like $1 and change per pound. So you basically can dig through bins and bins of shoes, used shoes, and we would bring home 5 or 10 pairs. We'd go every single morning. We'd be there at 7 a.m. And the reason I mention this is because the people there started calling us the shoe mafia. And at that time we were selling every single pair of shoes for $25. The people that were there at the thrift store with us every morning would message us at night and buy shoes the next morning in the parking lot that we had gotten there the day before for $1 or $2. They'd buy them for $25 off of us.
That's crazy. That's awesome though.
It's providing value. They knew that we were going to clean them. They knew that we were picking through and finding the best ones.
That's true. Yeah. And I'm sure at the time you guys probably, I mean, I don't know how immersed you guys were at the time as far as like doing research and stuff like that. They probably had the knowledge and they were like, oh, I'm going to flip this one for 50, this one for 75 and that kind of stuff. So I know. So, okay. So kind of backtracking a little bit, what was your guys' like, and I've asked this a couple of interviews, what was your guys' like aha moment where you guys were like, wow, this is actually, going to work?
So first delivery.
Yeah, our very first delivery. So when we did our first shoe delivery, we're actually reselling a bunch of different stuff. We did the let's go to Goodwill and that toaster is only $5 and that coffee maker is only $5 and this, and we were crushing in the wooden bowl category because we would find a bunch of wooden bowls, and for some reason people in Maine are buying wooden bowls. So
okay. I like the specifics. Yeah, that's good.
we were buying and selling a bunch of stuff, and it was a pair of men's Under Armour shoes, and
they were yours. This is when we were getting stuff out of our closet, my closet, selling all my shoes and selling his shoes. So it was a pair of your sneakers, right?
Yeah, and we had posted them on Facebook, and the gentleman said for $25, like, I'll take those. Where can we meet? We met at the local supermarket, and as he was walking up to meet us, I knew he wasn't a men's 10.5. Like, this was a big dude.
Okay.
And so I was like confused, and I was like, I instantly, because we were new, I was like, did I list them the wrong size? I was saying this in my head, and as he approached, I had the shoes in my hand, and our big thing was like, try them on right now, make sure they fit perfectly. They're only 25, no obligation if they don't fit perfectly. And so I said that. I said, you want to try these on? And he was like, nah, no, I'm good. I'm like, are you sure you don't want to try these on? Because dude, the guy was at least a men's 13. Like, he had a big ass foot, and he like humored me, I guess. And he went to put them on, and you could see his toes in like, and his heel wasn't even in. Yeah. And he was like, I'll take them. And I was like, what? I don't. And he was like, for $25, like, I have to have these. And he, of course, was probably going to flip them and resell them himself.
Yep.
And we knew right away that we were onto something, this idea of trading value. And then the final aha moment was we couldn't name one person we knew that didn't wear shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the market was there, and it wasn't going to go away.
Is that how you transitioned out of bowls? Because you realized not everybody needed salad bowls?
Right.
As crazy as it sounds, that's exactly what we said to ourselves. We're like, not everyone uses a toaster. Not everyone, ironically, uses a coffee maker. Everyone wears shoes. Every single person wears shoes. And so we decided to use, and then what solidified it was we enjoyed engaging and interacting with shoes.
Yeah.
We didn't enjoy as much the toasters, and we don't enjoy doing the clothes things, and so we love shoes.
Okay, cool. I like that you say 13s are big ass feet. So I'm 6'5" and I wear 14s or 15. So good to know that.
Right.
We got plenty for you, man.
Yeah, I might have to like send you guys some messages, send me some pictures, because I'll tell you, finding my size not easy. I usually have to order.
That's what we hear.
Yeah, we got tons in your size for sure.
That's cool. Good to know. So I know you guys obviously do Poshmark, Mercari. What else do you guys use? What else have you guys seen success with? What have you guys tried that you didn't stick with? Or
Facebook Marketplace we still use, like Letgo, OfferUp.
We do a ton on StockX.
Oh, StockX.
So Poshmark, Mercari, StockX, and Facebook are our top 4 platforms. We've tested things like Virage Sale and dropped it. We've tested things
Vinted.
Vinted.
Yeah, we had a lot of success on Vinted right away, but they are they're definitely geared more towards like you have some extra things in your closet and you want to sell them, less quantity. So they weren't feeling the like reselling.
They literally said that if you're doing this for a business, we don't want you to
sell here.
List here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we said
okay.
Fair enough. So I guess one of the biggest things that I guess I get a lot of questions on is especially with like, so I do obviously just RA and OA. My biggest sales are Amazon and eBay. You can see all my eBay stuff behind me. So one of the biggest things and the questions I get is how do you deal with lowball offers? I mean, I have my way. How do you guys deal with lowball offers?
We as everyone, I'm sure, when you get that, when you've listed something for $89 and someone offers you 15, it feels like a punch in the gut. Actually, ironically, today that happened several more times than it normally does. But we use it as an opportunity to open up a dialogue with the buyer. Now, obviously, if we've listed a pair for 89, there's no way we're going to sell it for 15. We always leave a little room when we're sourcing. We leave a little room knowing that we're going to have offers, knowing that we might be able to negotiate. And so we open up a dialogue and say, for example, if it's on Mercari where you can private message with the buyer, we'll say, hey, thank you so much for the offer. That's too low because these are brand new, never worn, or because these are selling for X, Y, and Z. If we would consider an offer closer to our asking price, or if you'd like to bundle several pairs together, we can come down on the price. Now, sometimes that works, and sometimes you never hear from them. But more often than not, it's opening a dialogue with that potential buyer, and it does lead to good things, even if they don't buy right away.
Yeah, but we always counter.
Always counter.
Okay.
Even if they offer like 15 on an 89, we'll come down to like 87 or something, like a little bit, because we've more often than not had the person jump up to 69 as their next offer. And
Okay.
they were just doing like a bullshit low offer just to be like, maybe they'll sell them for 15. But
Yeah.
then they'll send their real offer, which might only be 15 or 20 bucks lower than our ask. And then we can meet somewhere in the middle. So we always counter, even if it means taking a deep breath and doing it.
Well, that's the key right there. Like, we're in a virtual world where we can be in our living room and I can like fake punch the wall and say, are you kidding me, without having that person in front of you. And then you kindly say, hey, you know what, blah, 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 everything that I just told you. It's not like we're in a market where someone walks up and is like, I'll give you $2 and the price tag says 100.
Right.
It's okay to take that deep breath and then respond, because it is an opportunity, even though it's super low offer.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. You get to take that deep breath. You get to even like vent, out in the open before, instead of where you gotta hold it in. Because I even get that, like I'm sure you guys probably get the sob stories of like, oh, I only have $15. Like, please, oh please, oh please.
No, we're the best. The best is my brother's uncle's sister's godfather just died. Can you donate these brand new Jordans to us? And we're like, what? No, like, but then that'll happen that happens once a week. And we're like, how is everyone's brother's uncle's stepbrother's niece like?
It had to have worked one time, and somebody was like, hey, you got to try this, and so
Yeah.
somebody just copy pasted to everybody, and they tried 2,000 people, and one person was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Sure.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, man. I mean, that knowing that what you just said, if you can understand that, it doesn't like hurt as bad, that it's just, rub it, let it roll off the shoulder and move on to the next.
No, I hear you there. So one of my favorite questions, if you guys could start all over again, what advice would you have given yourself to do different? What advice would you have been like, do this first instead of this? Like, what advice would you have given yourself if you could start all over again?
Well, I think one of the biggest mistakes that we made in the beginning was comparing ourselves to other retailers. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves because we went full-time day one. Usually what people do is they have their 9 to 5 and they mull over and they, they're looking on Instagram, they're looking on YouTube, they're following people that do it full-time. They're doing that like half foot in, half foot out, half pregnant stuff where they're like, I want to go full-time, but I'm not sure. And then they, whatever. We were like, this has to pay the bills. It was January, February, March, April, May, June. And in July, we had to pay our bills with this. So we were like, we didn't do any of the like, should we not? But in that first month, we were like, oh, here's a person on YouTube that's selling 1,000 pairs a month. How come we're only selling 40? And then we had to be like, wait a minute, we don't really know what we're doing yet. What was really good for us after we got over that, like, we're not going to compare ourselves, but we figured out exactly what our bills were going to be in July, like to the penny. And then at the time, we were only selling shoes for $25. We said, how many shoes do we have to sell?
Okay.
And that was our goal. And then once we hit that goal, we were like, we can actually do this. Yeah. Now, what's the new goal? And we kept going, kept setting it, kept pushing ourselves. And believe me, everyone in our lives were laughing at us. Everyone.
I feel the pain there.
We're two very intelligent, educated, college degree individuals, and they were like, you're going to a filthy warehouse every morning and picking up dirty shoes and then cleaning them in the living room and selling them until we were making more than them.
Yeah.
And now they're like, how do I do this? How do I do this? So the one thing that answered your question would be not to compare yourself to anyone. Everyone's got different situations. Set up what you need to do and then figure out what you need to do every single day to get there.
Nice. Okay. I like it. Yeah, no, so I was a grocery store manager, left that job, and people were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And, to me, it was freedom. I was like required to work 5 days before a holiday. So, everybody else would go on their ventures, spend time with family. And I was like, well, have fun, guys. I'm going to work. So having that freedom was huge for me. So, all right. So what do you think, what makes you stand out from everybody else? Like, how is your thing different? Why couldn't, why are you going to be more successful or happier than the next person selling shoes?
Because we don't give a shit what anyone thinks about what we're doing.
I like it.
And we don't like. I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this, but like,
no, you're all good.
We've been swearing.
Right,
you're all good. No worries.
And I'm
just being polite. I used to be a trucker, so we're good.
Oh, cool.
That's super cool. Actually.
Yeah, that is
And we mean that in a very real way. Like, it's very hard to say that to someone who does take into account what other people think about them. And we're not saying that we don't like try to present ourselves in a respectful way, but at the end of the day, we do not care at all what anyone has to say about our business. That's why we're very transparent, is because, hey, our last post was me in the closet cleaning shoes, but we also are about to go spend $4,000 on brand new shoes, and we do everything in between. The I don't like to say the reason we're gonna win over other people. The reason we are winning how we want to win is because we know exactly what it takes to do that every single day, and that's different for every single person. We know what our numbers are on a daily basis. We know exactly, literally to the hour, what is working, what's not working. When things aren't working, we know it's our fault. We know when we're winning big, it's because something we did.
Yeah.
Nothing is by mistake.
And we also have never, in our personal lives, to each other, to our family, friends, and also like to our Instagram followers, and in a business sense, like never present ourselves anything other than we are. And it is amazing how freeing it is to just like be yourself and not like worry about having some face to the world, and then you mess up, and then it's exhausting to try to be someone other than what you naturally are. So
that's where that energy comes from. It's tiring to be something that you're not, and if you're just yourself, then there's no like getting tired of it.
Exactly. I learned a long time ago in business that if you don't lie, you never have to remember anything.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's cool, awesome. So I mean, I know you guys obviously have mentioned the apps that you're using. You guys have talked about like Amazon, that you'll eventually go into that. Are there any other kind of like big plans, things you guys plan on transitioning into? Do you guys always plan on doing, Facebook Marketplace where you're still meeting up with people? Do you guys plan on like hiring people, or what's like? I don't want to say the end goal, because like I feel like with this business, there's no end goal.
Yeah.
What's next? What's on the up part of the roller coaster?
Well, I think one thing that is super important is we're not romantic to any marketplace, any brand. For example, right now, Poshmark is hitting the hardest for us, and we're selling a ton of Nike. But if for whatever reason all the outlets shut down, Nike bans you from reselling, like whatever, we're just like fictitious stories, we'll figure out a different brand to sell. Actually, this is a perfect example. We can't post Nike on Facebook right now, and I think some people can. We used to be able to. A lot of people in our local area are finding that they cannot post Nike. It gets shut down, whatever. But we're not crying about it. We just post all the other brands on Facebook, and we post Nike elsewhere. So with that said, not being romantic, we're always going to find out what's working, what's not, because like I said, we're literally to the day, we know where we're at financially. We know what's working. If it starts to dip, we know why. In the future, short term, we're building up our shoe business to fund our real estate goals that we're going to start in 2020.
Okay.
We're going to be doing some rental arbitrage simultaneously while we have our shoe machine running. That's going to be pumping out at least $10,000 net profit to us every single month. And we're not going to be so much flipping real estate. We won't get into that, but we're going to be doing a lot of rental arbitrage and starting a family. And we're going to be building up properties all over the world, so that as our family grows into being able to travel a lot, we already have spots all over the world to go.
Okay, nice. Now, do you guys, I know you just said as far as like rentals and that kind of stuff, do you guys ever plan on doing more than just shoes, whether it be on Poshmark, Mercari, whatever is kind of lighting the fire at that point? Or is it just, as far as the product goes, just shoes?
Well, I think the key phrase that you just said was lighting our fire. That's what we're really excited about. If we wake up in the morning tomorrow and for whatever reason we're like, oh my God, I can't even imagine selling shoes, we're going to sell all these in bulk and try something else. We don't do reselling strictly for the money, but we understand the practicality. Sure. We really, really do. You can see we have a sneaker loft. We have roughly 500 or 600 pairs up here. We're about to bring on another 100. We enjoy the shoe stuff. With that said, in the future, if something pops up that really does fuel the fire for us, we're open to it. We tried apparel. In the beginning, like the first hour, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then we dove in and we were like, you know what? We were dreading the sourcing. We were dreading the photography. We weren't even pumped about any of it. And the numbers were good. We were making a tremendous profit. And we looked at it. We had a great conversation and we said, this just isn't for us. And so we shut it down. So whatever, we don't know what that thing is in the future. We hope that real estate fuels our fire as much as shoes has, but if it doesn't, we'll find something else.
Okay. If you guys weren't selling shoes and money was not like an issue, what would you guys be doing?
That's a really, really good question. I think do you know the answer off the top of your head?
I've seen you guys in interviews. I don't think I've ever seen you guys like stumped or paused that long before.
No, I know my answer. I wanted to give her a heads up.
I would love to clean animals after being stuck in oil spills.
Okay.
Like that Dawn commercial where they have like, the little ducks.
The little ducks, yeah.
And stuff. I would love to do that.
So there's actually a game show where you would ask that question. I would write the answer and like hold up a piece of paper. Yeah. That's exactly what I like. Yeah. I would have held up like clean baby ducks, clean oil off baby ducks.
Hey, I'm old enough to know what you're talking about.
Yeah. See, okay, you know. So,
what's yours?
I'm passionate about creating stuff. I mean, we've been doing a lot of painting. That's something that in my 30s I've really been testing out and getting excited about, and not like fine art painting, like just throwing paint at canvases and messing it up. And so we've been doing a lot of painting, but I'm a creator. I like to create things and connect things. And I also really love to travel and do stuff like that. That's why I think the real estate and the painting have been. So if money was not an option, we'd buy properties all over the place that we could just lock and have a place to go.
Oh, the other thing, let's just talk about this for the next 20 minutes. This is such a fun conversation. If money isn't an option,
we're building.
We've talked about wanting to do like a Shark Tank for kids. So we're investing in like little kids, like
tell them what we
business ideas. Oh, we call it the Minnow Tank.
I like it. I like it.
But something like that, just like investing in kids that just like have that entrepreneurial mindset at such a young age, which is so important to just like foster the hell out of.
Yep.
So something like that would be super cool, but that's more realistic. Like we actually probably will try to do.
We've had parents reach out to us actually and nominate their kids to be in the Minnow Tank already. The bottom line is it'd be fun.
Yeah.
You guys heard it first. It's trademarked. They got it. Nobody else is allowed to do it. If you see Minnow Tank in the future, you know it's on video, so you guys are good now, right?
Hey, if someone creates it before us, we'll send our kids to their Minnow Tank. That's okay.
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. All right. So what's the number one question you guys get all the time, or like what is the most asked question?
How do you know if a shoe is gonna sell?
Okay.
literally, and no embellishment. Probably 60 or 70 messages a day come in. How do you know if this shoe is gonna sell? And obviously the answer is you check the completed sales, you check the comps before you purchase. But we love asking people to ask us questions, because then it really shows us where a lot of people's heads are at. And we found that there's a tremendous amount of effort that people are willing to put in after they have purchased inventory.
Yeah.
And a lot of the problems that people run into could be easily solved, and I use that word boldly, could easily be solved if they put more effort in before they purchase stuff. And it seems so obvious, but it seems so apparent in the hundreds of messages that we get on a weekly basis that people are, for example, putting a ton of time and effort into, hey guys, I just bought 200 pairs of shoes. Where do you get those racks? And we're like, how many shoes have you sold? Ever? And they're like, none. I haven't sold any shoes. And you're like, well, what if you don't like this next week? And they're saying, well, what do you mean? Like, I'm supposed to buy a bunch of stuff so that I can sell it. And then, we're not going to point anybody out specifically, but that's the general consensus. A tremendous amount of effort and time after when it should be put into before.
Yeah. Well, you kind of half answered my next question as far as like, what do you wish that more sellers would do on a regular basis? I'm sure probably research, checking comps, and that kind of stuff.
Well, and here to give you a different answer to bring value to whoever's listening or watching this.
Sure.
We wish other resellers would stop making excuses. We've heard both. You guys sell so many shoes because you live in near a city. We've heard you sell so many shoes because you don't live near a city. We've heard you sell so many shoes because like actually, here's a true story. About 8 months into our reselling adventure, we had done everything on Facebook, and a lot of people were reaching out to us saying that's not possible in my area. That's not possible in my area. Oh, yeah. And so a lot of people, we live in Maine, and a lot of people from Vermont were saying we don't have outlets, we don't have all this stuff. And we were trying to remind them, like, we don't source at outlets. We hadn't even thought about new shoes yet.
Sure.
So we went to Vermont, and we for 30 days, yeah. And we sold 100 pairs of shoes, and like in the local market, absolutely yeah. Cold, and jumped on the local buy and sell. And ironically, we were there for 30 days, and for 7 of those days, I was kicked off of Facebook. Yeah. Because I had posted too many pairs of shoes. So the bottom line is, if we wish resellers would not make excuses, because it's putting yourself behind the 8 ball. And if you create an excuse, then you are stuck behind that excuse. Whatever you think is not possible is 100% not possible for you. And then, of course, the vice versa of that is we think everything is possible, yeah. And we set the bar super high, and then we surprise everybody around us when we hit it.
And we don't ever want to be a part of like the breeding a community of just like settling or thinking summer slowdown is a thing or January is my slowest month, or like we don't ever want to put that out, because that's not the case for us. Because if we're having a slow morning, we're going to do something to pick up the afternoon. So we're always coming up with that solution. So a little less of that like excuse making and stuff like that.
And dude, we're not talking kumbaya, like we just put out positive vibes. It's like when people said summer slowdown, we were like, on our first summer, we were like, okay. And then there was no slowdown. And then they said January for shoes is going to be so slow. And it was our biggest month in business. They said, but February is going to be way slower. And it was our bigger than January. And again, that's not bragging. It's like, okay, if this is supposed to be a slow time, how do we not make it a slow time? Because holy shit, like we have to eat, we have to pay our bills.
Right.
We're not just going to accept that this is the way that it is.
Oops,
and
we didn't sell anything this week. No, we're not going to do that.
Stop making excuses.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure you guys probably do something similar where like I gear towards the time of year when it's, August, I'm selling backpacks, when it's obviously December, I'm selling toys. You guys probably sell, I mean, obviously you sell all over the globe in the US, but I mean, I'm sure you guys probably sell more like bean boots and stuff like that, probably, this time of year. So it's all about adapting. So
with the bigger buying budget and the bigger business, yes. But we're also selling sandals in December because someone's going on a vacation somewhere.
Right.
Like again, that's another thing, because then we've heard the story. Oh, I can't source enough boots and it's the winter. That's the only thing that's selling. And we're like, that's just not true. We'll show you the numbers. We're selling running shoes. We're selling sandals. Yeah. Like you can get sandals for the cheapest in the winter.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes, you want to be strategic with the season, because that's obviously what more people are looking for, but no excuse. You can sell everything all the time.
Yeah, no, I was definitely, obviously I live in New Hampshire and obviously cold. So summer stuff gets marked down here. I just recently went out to Arizona to visit my mother because she's there in the winter. Very jealous, but and I'm walking around seeing stuff on shelves that I know are clearance where I am, and I'm picking it up, scanning it, and being so disappointed because I'm like, it's not on clearance here. I was ready to send boxes and boxes home, but it doesn't work that way. So that's I sell those to those people this time of year. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. It's finding the opportunity and capitalizing on it. It's literally 2019. There is zero excuses.
Zero, absolutely zero. I hear you there. Yeah. So who do you guys? I mean, speaking of like zero, I mean, I've heard that line from so many different people. Who do you guys like think is your biggest influence? Biggest influence as far as either in non-social media life, but also like social media life. If you were to tell people you should follow ABC, who would those people be? Other than yourselves.
Yeah, I mean,
Gary V. Yeah.
I mean, we watch a lot of Gary V stuff because he's real. He doesn't bullshit you. There is literally hundreds of people who are selling more, selling less, that people should follow. You know, if people want to DM us on our Instagram and ask that question, we'll give you specific people. But I think it's also a question that puts a roadblock on people, because that leads to comparing to other people. I don't want people to compare themselves to Gary Vee, or here I'll list a man named Nicholas Woolsey. Is a phenomenal father. He's a phenomenal reseller. He's bouncing back and forth between shoes and books. The young gentleman that you just interviewed is a inspiration. I mean, the dude's in his car just making it happen. Like, no, and we don't even know that much about him. So you could pull your inspiration from great things, but at the end of the day, like, look at yourself in the mirror. This is going to sound cliche, and say, I did this yesterday. How can I do better than yesterday? Because that's the only thing that matters. I even find myself, because I watch a lot more, when I'm like cleaning shoes, I've got Gary Vee, podcast or something running, and I find myself, because it's like in my ear all the time, thinking I got to have a $200 million, 1,000 person company, when literally his message is to not think like that,
right,
and to do your thing. So we're very hesitant to compare ourselves or to look up to other people. We say, hey, this is what we did in the last 30 days. This is what we want to do in the next 30, and let's be better than ourselves. And then we get to gloat that we have achieved this big thing that the us wasn't able to do the day before.
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, I'm definitely big on like the self aspirations, like you set your goals. You're not working for somebody else when you're doing this stuff. So as long as you hit your goals, you're not trying to beat somebody else's goals. So yeah, I know I joke with anybody when I talk about with Gary Vee. I said, as long as your aspiration isn't to buy the New York Jets, then we can still be friends. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. They're Gary Vee, and then once you get into the Gary Vee world, there's a lot of really cool tentacles coming off of that. But then the message is so simple. It's like, shut this thing off and go do you. And we're very good about that on a daily basis.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, all right, guys. I don't want to take any more of your time. This is definitely like so awesome. And again, like, I thank you guys so much. Do you guys want to tell people where they can find you, all the platforms and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, Instagram is definitely the easiest place to get a hold of us. We're always on there. You can DM us. It's just RnzyNow, RNZY now. And then in our Instagram, there's links to our YouTube and all of that. We also have a Facebook page. Pretty much just RnzyNow, or just Rinzy on anything. You're going to find us.
We're throwing a couple tweets out there every once in a while.
Every now and again we tweet.
Yeah,
okay.
We're on Twitter. We got here's a big thing. I don't know if this isn't going to air right away, but well, I'm sure in the near future, after this airs, we will be going on another. So tomorrow we're going on a monster sourcing trip. We'll literally be on the road. We'll be showcasing everything that we're doing while out on the road. And that's usually very beneficial to people. We've learned in the past when we've done this, it's been very beneficial. So we do that. We try to do that at least once a month, these big 3-day trips. And then we do go sourcing every single week. But like Lindsay said, through Instagram is the best, easiest way to get through to us personally.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, thank you guys.